The NPP is defending the decision by its National Council, which is the second highest decision-making body in the party, to allow only its members to determine the tie between Boakye Jarko and Adainimo in a runoff to qualify for the November Congress of aspirants. Now, the party insists the National Council is clouded with the power to vary the NPP constitution when necessary and acted accordingly. Before we hear from the NPP, my colleague Elton Brobe joins me with excerpts of the statement issued by Boakye Jarko. Elton, what's the latest on that?
So, Mamie, what Boakye Jarko, in a letter that is addressed to the party, he made some recommendations and said that it will be unfair for him to participate in an exercise that seeks to undermine the constitutional provisions in the party. It makes the point that the party, at its own Congress that decided on the composition of the super delegates, came to the conclusion that when the participants are more than 5, there should be a super delegate that will decide and vote to trim the number to 5. And it is clearly spelled out. There is no provision that says that in the event of a tie or a runoff, the party council should constitute itself into a super delegate to decide who should join the other 4, and that for him to accept the position of the party, that decision that was raised yesterday, will amount to him condoning an illegality, something that he's not willing to do. And if the party is bent on carrying through the decision of council, which now allows the 135 members to vote in the runoff, will amount to an illegality and unconstitutional approach. And for that reason, he is stepping out of the race, will not contest the runoff schedule for this weekend, and that automatically will allow the party to select Francis Adainimo as the 5th person to contest the November 4 Congress of the party to elect a flag bearer going into the 2024 election. This is the letter that Boakye Jarko wrote to the party.
Right, thank you very much, Elton Brobe. Now we can listen to Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, defending the decision taken by the National Council.
Nobody has broken the law. The National Council acted on its powers. With regards to the point of integrity.
Yeah, just do that for me quickly.
With regards to the point of integrity,
yes.
First of all, the rules that was set by the Presidential Elections Committee was acting on the powers of the National Council. However, these rules were supposed to be approved by the National Council. Well, and these rules had not come to the attention of the National Council, but was used to run the elections. The National Council seizes the power to vary the rules, even in the process of running the elections. So the National Council is not a small body. It is the second highest making decision body apart from council. And it's not made up of just few numbers. It's more than 100. The National Council is more than 100. I'll tell you the composition of National Council, and you appreciate what the National Council... Boakye Jarko is a member of the National Council. He knows the powers and strength of National Council. And I believe that the National Council, to make this particular decision, will not fall fact of the case that that is the right decision that is made by the party. And I heard about short-chaining.
Yes.
Nobody is short-chaining anybody. Nobody is doing it for a particular candidate. We are doing this constitutionally to make sure that the party is safeguarded. That is why the Constitution in Article 10.3.1 is very specific for the well-being of the party.
But former National Chairman aspirant and political scientist Dr. Amoako Baah is taking on the National Council, accusing them of taking a dictatorial decision.
You've been given that power, but it must be spelled out within the Constitution. What happens if you have a tie like we have now? And it never occurred to a single person that that could happen, for you to make rules for it. And now that it's happened, now you're talking as if on your head, on top of your head, now you're going to make a decision. You don't run democracy this way. No, but there are so many issues wrong with it. You see, we became as if we are democratic, we write the rules, National Council, this and that, and so they can become dictatorial. No, just because you've been given the power doesn't mean the process you are following are constitutional. No, this should not happen. It's not you at any given moment you get up and say, we are going to decide. How are you going to decide? No, constitutionally, it should be spelled out ahead of time. Everybody knows on the same page. That's how you do it. Not you wait until there's a problem, then you say, we are going to decide. Okay,
Dr. Mahmoud, this is the question to you. If you were the national chairperson of the New Patriotic Party, you have this situation on your hands, what alternatives would you be possibly looking at now?
I would have put it in that if anytime there's a tie for the fifth position, we'll have six candidates. Why not? What is the magic between 5 and 6?
You have a constitutional restraint at 5.
Well, that is why we have to change the constitution. See, they have the constitution and they bypass it anytime they want. I wouldn't do that. Let's put it in the constitution that if there is a tie for the fifth position, we'll have 6 candidates.
Meanwhile, political scientist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Asante, says the decision taken by the National Council can cause confusion and dissatisfaction in the party.
Vision that they have the power to take that decision. I believe that in matters of this nature, it is discussed from the word go, and people become accustomed with the rules of the game, not midstream, and then you change the game. You change the rules of the game. It becomes something else, and people take it with suspicion, right? But having said this, well, if that is what the provision says, well, let it not be the case that they want to do that to shortchange somebody else. Then you are creating confusion within the party. The rules must be what? The ground rules must be the same for everybody. And what is, thrown out as the rules of the game, we respect it from the beginning to the end. So why the surprises?
But I mean, these are just 2 individuals who are being shortlisted after all.
Yeah, but it's not. We are not talking about that. We are talking about institutions. And here I'm talking about rules, regulations, procedures that govern the conduct of people and then the electoral processes, that you can't just change them at your whim. You do that, you cause disaffection within the party. And that is what I'm worried about.